Hey guys, it's me Candy. I'm here with another story for you. I mean what I say and I say what I mean. This story today is about my homeboy Doug. He was with my bestie, Anna. My bestie, she's still my bestie till this day. They were together. That was Anna's first boyfriend. In fact, that was her first boyfriend. Her one and only baby daddy. Her first love. Um, He was a little older than us, but we hung out a lot all the time. I met him through one of my friends, Jamie, and then I met Anna, met Doug, and then everybody else through there because my first love lived in the neighborhood. So I really wanted to go visit Jamie just to visit my boyfriend at that time. You know what I mean? My first boyfriend. So we were all just doing our thing. You know what I mean? Jamie had a bunch of boyfriends too. At that time she's real beautiful. Anyways, this story is though about Duck. Something he got caught up in has to do with, it's kind of like those decisions you make, like when someone calls you and you're like, yeah, I'll go with you to hit that lick, you know what I mean? Or like, nah, you know what I mean? You're going to have to call the next one. Because that's not at my limit or at my doing right now, you know what I mean? I'm on chill mode and I'm just not ready to get lit up like that, But anyway, so it's about Doug. Unfortunately, in this incident, Brianna Woods did lose her life. He didn't do it, of course, but later on, the things that were done later on, Doug was involved. Anyways, Doug's a really cool guy. I mean, if you just want to hang out with him, and a lot of people know him. Like I said, a lot of people know him. He's cool. He likes to have fun. He just got out not too long ago. I saw him. He looks like that in the picture, just mad thick. You know what I mean? I took him to go shopping. I even asked him about all this, about the case and everything, you know what I mean? And I remember him being like, I just remember being like, man, how'd you get caught up? And he's just like, man, I live this life on a daily, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that, like when he asked, it was just something that had to be done, and I was going to make some money and win. When you really think about it, some people do things like just to get notoriety and to look cool and to like be known or have a name out there. I don't think Duck was thinking about any of that. I think he was thinking about what was offered to him, which was $500 and his debt cleared. You know what I mean? Whatever he owed to him. But yeah, I don't think Duck was thinking about any of that. Because everything was supposed to be kept a secret as it was, But from what I understand, there's a friend, another guy in the hood named Joseph. I know it's Joseph the Hedina or something like that. But Joseph called Duck up and was like, hey, I got an issue that I've dealt with already, but I need to deal with the aftermath of it. You know what I mean? And I need her to be put in a safe place, never to be found, basically, in that situation. So can you help me? You know what I mean? I guess the 500 was offered. They talked about it on the phone, very little, I'm sure, before he headed that direction to go get Duck. You know what I mean? From what I understand, from my bestie and talking to Duck, talking to my bestie and Duck, from what I understand, they said they were mad about $40 at Brianna Woods, $40 owed for, narcotics, I guess, you know what I mean? I don't ever say narcotics, for some drugs, you know what I mean? But anyways, so they picked him. Either way, they headed to his Doug's direction, which most likely he was at his mom's house in the hood, you know what I mean? At this point, Doug was doing a lot of hard at that time, you know what I mean? So it was hard for him to come up, I'm sure. But anyways, he was at his mom's, so they went to his mom's, they picked him up, they went to Walmart, I guess, to get what they could afford, some basic little knives or utensils, tools, whatever they felt necessary for the job to get done. So they went and they got the tools they needed. They went back. From what I understand, it was over there somewhere by PMI on 3rd Street. They went somewhere in that direction to do this part of the action, and he was paid to basically get her to fit in this little igloo. You know what I mean? I know they said bones and limbs had to be broken. Not everything was cut because they used they just used some basic tools from Walmart. You know what I mean? Generic tools. Generic tools. So, from what I understand, things had to be broken, and for her to fit in there. You know what I mean? To get her in there. Anyways, the job was done. They got her in there. From what I understand, they took her to Duck's mom's house to be put in the back and buried, of course. You know what I mean? She was there for about 6 months before. From what I understand, Duck's nieces and nephews, people that were living there, people in charge, were starting to smell a stench. It was starting to smell real bad there. I think Joseph was staying there at the moment. I don't know if it was to watch things over, to make sure nothing was like messed up, or if he just didn't have a place to stay and he was on drugs like Duck. I don't know what that case was, for real. Because it could have been either one. Either way, he was staying there at that moment. He went up to what I understand, the person in charge, which was, I'm sure, his mom's. You know what I mean? He went up to her and like he did his little like thumb. You know what I mean? Like a slice on her tummy. Like, you don't smell nothing. You know what I mean? And she's like, I'm sure she thought to herself like, "Fool, I do smell something. And now that I know that you're trying to threaten me, whatever it is, gots to go." You know what I mean? So from what I understand, she Anna said that she kicked the couch because he was asleep on the couch, just crashed, like no worries in the world. You know what I mean? Kicked the couch and was like, "Hey, as quick as y'all got in here, y'all need to get out, because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that stench is, but it needs to go. Get it out. You get out. Your friend get out. Everybody needs to go." I didn't know that was the case. You know what I mean? I thought y'all was, you know what I mean? She didn't know the kids were complaining about the smell too much. So, from what I understand, they called, Joseph had to call his mom. I'm sure if they were doing drugs, they didn't have no money. They had to call his mom. His mom had to rent a U-Haul. You know what I mean? So, I'm sure what they did is they dug it up, got the igloo, and put it in the U-Haul to be taken to Bluntzer County. You know what I mean? I think that's what they did. But before this, I just want to let y'all know, the knives that were used, the tools that were used from Walmart, they were cleaned up. After everything was done, it was cleaned up. They were cleaned up and taken back to Walmart for a gift card. I just wanted to put that out there because I forgot that little part. They took him back for a gift card. They got the money, and you know what I mean? They did what they had to do, I'm sure, just to be right on the daily. You know what I mean? But anyway, so when they got the U-Haul, they took it to Bluntzer County. And I think that's where she stayed until Duck was, I think he went to jail for something else. You know what I mean? Just for something else. He was in jail for something else, nothing related to this story or nothing like that. He was just in there. I'm sure he was thinking about making a deal because the whole case itself was a bit shady, how a lot of things went down. A lot of people got deals for certain reasons. That's not part of the story I really want to tell, though. I know Duck, and that's the story I want to tell. But from what I understand, it was a big hype at the moment. So Duck called somebody, notified somebody that he knew something, and he could let somebody know where the body's at, what happened, the players that were involved, all that. Supposedly, some of the people that were involved had 13 on their lip. I don't know if that's like a group or something here in the hood, because there's a lot of different gangs out here and a lot of little ones that are just made just to be made out here in Corpus. You know what I mean? Everything's so close to the valley in Mexico, and like just gangs is like, it's hard to get rid of those situations out here. It's just like me and my cousins. We're not a gang per se, but we ride around like like a crew. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that they were that or anything like that, but they had 13 on their lips. You know what I mean? So either way, he was in there on something else for another charge, and they went ahead and when he called, they went ahead and went up to him and was like, "Hey, you know," did an interview with him, I'm sure, and like, "Hey, what's going on? What have you? What do you know?" He went ahead and my bestie said he sang like a canary and said where everything was, told on everybody, you know what I mean, trying to get a deal. But I know Duck only got 8 years from it. You know what I mean? From what I understand, that's what Anna told me. When he got out, I remember a couple of my friends, I was like, oh, my homeboy Doug's going to come out. And they're like, damn, you don't know about him and this and that. And, I wasn't nervous or scared around him at all. Because, like I say, if you go around Doug and you know him, he's kind of mad chill. Can't even imagine him doing something like this. Not that he doesn't have a coldness to him, where he does what he wants, whether it's nice to a girl or a person or my bestie or whatever. But I didn't think he would do something at this, this limitations of where he's at. But I just thought he was just like running around beating people up, being a bully sometimes. But either way, I hung around with them, and like I said, I took him grocery shopping, and he's just kind of mad chill, just trying to live life. I think he's back on it. You know what I mean? Just shit happens. You know what I mean? Hopefully he gets right with this get right. I'm going to try to do another interview with Duck and my bestie. You know what I mean? Say how they feel about the situation. And if I left anything out, you know what I mean, per se. Because I don't know the whole story, just what's told to me. All these stories is things I've seen, things that were told to me, things I've lived, things I've heard through my besties or my people I know, my cousins, dancing, DJs, whatever, what have you. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's the story about Duck. The decisions he made when he was called on, you know what I mean? Those crossroads, you can, go left or right, and he chose to go the direction he went in. He paid for it and everything, but still, just to be in that situation where you see a body so I don't know, disfigured, you know what I mean, and out of place, the way he said things had to be broken, limbs, bones, things like that. I'd probably be getting sick all the time just having to do anything like that, you know what I mean? But when you got money's on your mind, and money's on your mind, and mind's on your money, well, dope or whatever, you're just trying to get the job done so you can get it done and get what you want to get, I'm sure, because I've lived that life too. So anyway, so that's the story about my homeboy Duck. Unfortunately, Brianna Woods was dealt with by Joseph before all this, before Doc even got involved. It's a sad situation. I know her mom and her were close, and she's still trying to find justice for the whole situation. She didn't feel like she got real, true justice, but, that's how the county be sometimes, the court systems. Either way, I hope y'all like the story. Bye.